as is usual for me, I'm reluctant to come up here and do this. But I also know if you're asked to do something, you should do it. So I said yes. I'll just muddle along the best I can and sort of grab beforehand, so I'll be all right. I had a bit of a long week, a very busy week, and as we were talking about earlier, it hasn't been very good weather outdoors, and all week I've been struggling trying to figure out what am I going to talk about, and arguing with myself about the reluctance that I always have. I don't mind coming up here and doing the table. I don't mind doing dialogue. I don't mind talking to any of you. But this is something that throws my head in a spin for some reason up here and do the lesson. And finally, I came up with the idea of I'm not the only person that's ever been reluctant. And you can find in the Bible, there's plenty of it.
Oh,
Yeah. On this small scale, I've come up here to do this, but on a large scale, we'll start with, I'm going to go before Adam and Eve to the Lord, because he's the one who was not reluctant when he was, before he created everything. The Spirit of the Lord was over the waters. And there's an anticipation in that I just find amazing to think about. And he goes and does it. And here we are. And here is everything. And he puts into play everything that happens. Adam and Eve, they were all game until they missed their chance to be reluctant and went and disobeyed the Lord. They've certainly not been alone in that. I think we can all attest to that in our own lives. And you can read from here, you can read anything, or look around you and see that human beings are pretty good at making mistakes.
hey.
Even intentional ones. Moses. No, you got the wrong guy, Lord. I'm not, I can't speak, I can't do that. It's not a good idea to argue with God. He says, no, you're it. I'll take care of it. I'll even give you Aaron to help and others to help. But you're in charge of this task. And he did many things in his whole life that he was very reluctant to do. But he obeyed. And that's a good lesson in itself, to just obey when the Lord asks you to do something. Now the big example of this, really, and the one that's used most often is Jonah. The whole book of Jonah is Jonah saying no, and the Lord saying yes. Jonah saying no, I don't want to, and you don't really need me. And the Lord says, you're going to do what I tell you to do. That reminds you of any of your parents. It reminds me of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are. Get up there and do it. Or you will finish that task. And it wasn't because they were mean to me. It was the opposite of that. They were saying, you're going to do this task because you need to learn this. You need to learn how to do it, and you need to learn how to obey. And that's what good parents do. They say, hey, you must do what you're told until you can figure it out, tell yourself to do the right things. David had so much given to him from a young age. He still disobeyed. you've gone to be baptized and you do have regrets and you know who you are and what you've done, and said, I'm not right. I need to be right with the Lord. And David had large sins. All sins are bad. But he had large sins. And he still went and did what he was told. And that included bowing himself to the Lord God and saying, I was wrong. I'm going to turn to Gospel of John, chapter 6. And I'll give you a minute. This Dave's quicker than I am, so I'm usually catching up with him as he goes along doing this. And starting in 28. This is after Jesus helps some of the apostles come ashore. I think I'll start at 22. Sorry. They had rowed out about 3 or 4 miles in the sea. I guess it's the Sea of Galilee. So when they had rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea and drawing near the boat, and they were afraid. But he said to them, It is I, do not be afraid. Then they willingly received him into the boat, and immediately the boat was at the land where they were going. On the following day, when the people who were standing on the other side of the sea saw that there was no other boat there, except the one which his disciples had entered, and that Jesus had not entered the boat with his disciples, but his disciples had gone away alone. However, other boats came from Tiberias, near the place where they ate bread after the Lord had given thanks. And when the people therefore saw that Jesus was not there, nor his disciples, they also got in the boats and came to Capernaum, seeking Jesus. Always good plan. And when they found him on the other side of the sea, they said to him, Rabbi, when did you come here? Jesus answered them and said, Most assuredly I say to you, you seek me, not because you saw the signs, but because you ate of the loaves and were filled. Do not labor for the food which perishes, but for the food which endures to everlasting life, which is the Son of Man, which the Son of Man will give you, because God the Father has set his seal on him. Then they said to him, What shall we do that we may work the works of God? Jesus answered and said to them, This is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he sent. Therefore they said to him, What sign will you perform then, that we may see it and believe you? What work will you do? Our fathers ate the manna in the desert, as it is written. He gave them bread from heaven to eat. Then Jesus said to them, Most assuredly I say to you, Moses did not give you the bread from heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Then they said to him, Lord, give us this bread always. And Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. But I said to you that you have seen me, and yet do not believe. All that the Father gives me will come to me, and the one who comes to me I will by no means cast out. For I have come down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. This is the will of the Father who sent me, that of all he has given me I should lose nothing, but should raise it up at the last day. And this is the will of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have everlasting life. And I will raise him up at the last day. The Jews then complained about him because he said, I am the bread which came down from heaven. And they said, Is not this Jesus? Oh, I'm not. Sorry, I was reading This shows the importance of the Lord. To substitute food for bread, because we don't think of just eating bread for food, but it's what gives us life. But this is the true food that we must take into ourselves to live. And now if you'll turn please to Psalm 16. Here's something I spoke of a little bit earlier. This is by David. Preserve me, O God, for in you I put my trust. O my soul, you have said to the Lord, you are my Lord. My goodness is nothing apart from you. As for the saints who are on the earth, they are the excellent ones in whom is all my delight. Their sorrows shall be multiplied, and hasten after another God. Their drink offerings of blood I will not offer, nor take up their names on my lips. O Lord, you are the portion of my inheritance and my cup. You maintain my lot. The lines have fallen to me in pleasant places. Yes, I have a good inheritance. I will bless the Lord who has given me counsel. My heart also instructs me in the night seasons. I have set the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand, and I shall not be moved. Therefore, my heart is glad, and my glory rejoices. My flesh also will rest in hope. For you will not leave my soul in Sheol, nor will you allow your Holy One to see corruption. You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures evermore. In Luke, after he's speaking with the apostles about what to how to prepare, he comes out and he went to the Mount of Olives as he was accustomed, and his disciples also followed him. When he came to the place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not enter into temptation." And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's throw, and he knelt down and prayed, saying, "Father, if it is your will, take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." So you see, even Jesus was reluctant. But he didn't leave it at that. He said, "Nevertheless, not my will, but yours." And we are willful creatures. I know I have been. And I think it's who we are as humans. But in my own life, I have to constantly readjust and say, stop being willful. I need to do what I'm told to do, and I need to be who I'm supposed to be. And it's a difficult task, and I believe the Lord knows that it's a difficult task for us. That's why he didn't say, go out and figure it out yourself and earn your salvation. He didn't treat us like that. He said, I'll do it for you. And that's why he sent Jesus. I was thinking about water this morning, as I looked at the water. And child, I lived near swamps and ponds and little brooks, and that's what my friends and we lived there for a long time. Going out, trying to catch frogs, walking through swamps, catching turtles. It's not really good water to be walking in. And I remember coming home and my mother was not very happy with me, to put it mildly. Just stand there, just stand there. Because I come home with mud up to here. We were playing. I had no idea about doing laundry or anything like that. But, I like other water too. I like going to the ocean. Boy, it's a nice place to get calm, isn't it? It just seems like it mellows you out. You go to a lake and relax. It's cooler there. It's just a pleasant place to rest your soul. I remember Scotts Brook, where I lived, and I used to go there a lot too. And the water was clean looking. Probably wasn't very clean though. I've also been in Maine to an ice house. The water was incredible. It's just so cool, cold, clean. And boy, and they had a bucket. You could crank it up, pour some into it was a place anybody in the surrounding area could go and fill up with clean water. I remember another water, and that was right behind me here, that I said, yes, Randy, I'm going to try to listen to the Lord in that water. That water was all the things I talked about. It was a rest for your soul. It was a place you could drink the purest water that the Maine water would be jealous of. And I needed to clean me up. And that baptism was a time I can still feel so clearly. It was over 16 years ago now. I don't have that good a memory for I do for odd points, but that one is really clear. I remember Mr. Norm, and I remember coming when I was putting my clothes back on, getting ready. I could hear everybody singing out here. People I barely knew. But boy, it didn't sound like people singing. It sounded like something I never heard before. It was the right kind. It did sound like angels. I did it all right on target. It was awesome. Boy, I'd like to live there in that time. I keep trying to work myself into not earning it, because the Lord earns